December is going to be the most powerful month of the year. And of course, this has been a year of massive change, hasn't it? Amplified energies constantly, pretty much for the entire year. But this month, things are going to really amplify. So we have multiple portals this month. We are still in the eclipse portal. We just had the final eclipse last night. You're probably, of course, still integrating these energies. They were powerful. A huge month for awakenings. Of course, we're seeing craziness out there in the world, which, remember, every time things get crazier in the world, it's an indication of an increased amount of energy in the earth plane. So when there's more light, the shadow comes up to be seen, felt, heard, known. The shadow's always been there. So remember, everything we're seeing, it's not going on because it's getting worse. It's going on because it's being seen. All of these shadow aspects, these are personas. These are literally entities that have been animated, that have been disconnected from source. So remember, we are all made up of infinite soul parts. Especially when you start embodiment, you start ascension, you are merging with these massive archetypes and star systems and galaxies. So you become literally everything. And the more that the light is amplified, all of these inorganic, traumatized parts in these loops that are caught up in these realms separated from source, that are not able to come back to source, are going to be, of course, increased. So never worry about what's going on in the world. We don't have time for that. We are creating the new. Okay, if you're getting yourself all worked up about all the next thing that's coming out, really, there's things coming out every minute. So we don't worry about that. What we do is we know better, and we can act better, and we can do better. Take responsibility to now make those changes within our own life. We can stop supporting those systems, those corporations, those industries. We can choose to be sovereign. We can choose to live in abundance and to make those decisions that need to be made right now. So, craziness out there is going to amplify, right? The energy, that fire that will amplify earth changes in the world, right? There could be environmental disasters, things in your life. We're coming to a huge release. So even though this is really a release of the last 18 months of what you've been going through, right? We worked through those karma cycles. We're now, okay, we get it. We're finally releasing those old, programmings, those people in our life, those jobs, anything that's not aligned. And you will know when something's not aligned. It will amplify. We can kind of, put our head in the sand and hope it goes away. But you will become increasingly uncomfortable in situations around certain people, around jobs, around relationships, with habits, whatever it is. So that fire is going to intensify. Now the fire is going to allow us to break through. So it's a huge time, of course, of release, but we also have the new trickling in. And because last year we had that huge 800-year, really a 2,000-year reset, the Great Conjunction, even though right now we're kind of in the 18-month release, we're really in the release of a lifetime, right? We're releasing everything in our life that's not aligned. And that's because we had such a major transition last year. And of course, we were still in that same series. But now those nodes are changing. We are meant to finally release literally everything in our life. So that includes identities. We all hold identities about ourselves, right? What we believe to be true. Oh, we're this, we're that. We are a doctor. We're a woman. We're a man. We are, we live in this country. Really, the identity is almost one of the hardest things to release, because we have to grieve all those parts of us that are no longer working. And you will know when they're no longer working, right? All of a sudden, you might have a huge Kundalini activation and you feel like you're a different person. And then you start questioning everything. I just did a video on Kundalini. Make sure you guys check that out. And also join my brand new website, EARTH1111.com, totally free. And we have a whole social media platform there for conscious creators, for seekers, for those that are sending, for those that want to change the world. So make sure you check out that, EARTH1111.com. I'm totally free, so make sure you sign up and start meeting your soul tribe. So those identities that we've always really thought of just to be true, those identities are really the hardest to let go of, right? Because we've been a certain way our whole life, and we are so ingrained in that belief that that's the way we are, that when we start, feeling different, or those ways aren't working anymore, we start questioning everything, and then we start getting all, concerned that we're going crazy or that we're not the same person, right? And so people that are really identified with who they are as an individual, that are really identified with the ego, because the ego is really just every part of you that is separate from the whole, right? It believes it's separate from the whole. So the more ingrained you are to be in the mind, in the identity that this is just the way I am, when you start having those Kundalini activations, which are happening big time for a lot of people right now, you start questioning everything, and you can really go into one of those deep, I guess, depressions almost, because you start realizing that everything you've ever thought about yourself was a lie. And you start really grieving all these parts of you. You just want your life to be the same. You want to go back to normal, right? Everyone says that, when are we going back to normal? Well, it's not happening ever again. And so all these things that you used to do, all these ways you used to be, right? We literally have to release all that, because we're becoming a universal being. So all the little parts of us that like to put ourselves down, right? That like to be limited, that like to be in that comfort zone, those are all going out the window. So it's really, you have to allow yourself to flow with those changes. And you have to allow yourself to, grieve, but release your attachment to anything that you thought was true or possible. Because the impossible is literally becoming possible right now. So if you're someone that's really been in that hermit stage for quite some time, you're going to be, that fire is going to be amplified within yourself. You need to make those changes. You're just fed up. You're at the end of your rope. And so it's time to start, speaking your truth. Start showing up in the world. Start taking action with the changes that you want to create in the world, right? If we want the world to be different, we need to start at the individual level. We can't just wait for some politician to change some law. It's not going to happen. It does nothing. Okay, so we change at the individual level. We start supporting those people, those, companies, those groups and communities that are actually supporting New Earth and supporting truth. Again, a little plug. Don't forget to go sign up at EARTH1111.com and support our community. We have a great community there building. I just announced it yesterday. But yeah, if you're someone that has been out there, speaking up, doing all this work, right? If you're someone that's, fighting the fight, fighting the battle, then you might be feeling that need to change. You might just be so fed up on trying to really wake everybody up. You're exhausted. You've just, flat out exhausted yourself. And so you get to the point where you're done. You're burnt out. You can't handle it anymore. You don't care. And so that's an indication to start going within. So a lot of people that have been out there in that outside world are going to now start going within and going into their own internal dark night of the soul, or their own hermit stage, or the ability to look at their own shadow and do the healing. And that's really where the real changes come in the world, right? We can try to change the world out there. That's hard, right? But we can change the world inside, our internal world, and then you just watch the outside world shapeshift, and all the drama just goes away, literally. And of course, we can look on TV and see more drama, but we choose not to. We start being able to realize that, okay, I'm done with that BS. I'm sick of fighting with people, right? So you start taking those actions towards releasing those people that are just constantly trying to make you feel upset, or those people, right, that are constantly questioning your beliefs, right? We don't need to have people that are not in the know to question what we know. It's as simple as that, right? People that are disconnected from source, disconnected from their heart, we don't need those people to question our beliefs. And so I know a lot of people have, been fighting and trying to get people to wake up. And really, it's exhausting. But if you change yourself within, if you do your own internal healing, you'll go more into an observer state, a neutral state, and you will allow things to happen on their own. And you will see so much more change so quickly when you're out of that loop, because you've literally raised your vibration to a higher timeline. You're now existing in a higher timeline where a lot of those people that are really, completely with blinders on just don't exist in your reality. So you will come across people that are more awake, more aware, more in their heart, that have smiles on their faces. But it involves you checking out of the drama first and doing the work. This month, December, is going to be a huge time of releasing all those old patterns, right? All those areas that we feel that we are a victim. We just need to get rid of all that crap. We are creating our own reality in every moment. So this month we have, of course, we just had the final eclipse here. Now this is ushering in a brand new cycle. So we're going to be seeing massive changes in the world come down. So a lot of the dissolving of the system is going to be taking place literally starting this month. Even though we've been seeing trickles of it, it is going to amplify, okay? So again, another reason to go within, find that still point, that safe place within yourself. Because when you're in that 0 point, it's like being in the eye of the storm, right? There can be a shit show going on out there in the world, chaos everywhere, but you are in that calm state. You know what to do. You're following your inner guidance. You're taking action from that inner guidance. And you just allow other people to do whatever they do, right? You don't let other people affect you ever again. And trust me, it's a process. It takes a while, right? But this month, you're going to be, if you're someone that's been doing the work for quite some time, you're going to be seeing so many amazing changes come into your life. But we have to release that old to make room for the new. So we have to trust those feelings, right? Be guided right now by your heart. The mind is very weak, okay? The mind can be changed and influenced by anybody, right? The wind blows and the mind changes what it believes, right? So think about that. Your heart always knows what's best for you. So just like being in love, right? When someone tells you, okay, you have to love this person, right? You can't just change who you love, right? You love who you love, and that's based on your heart. Of course, it's also based on patterns of trauma, which I've talked about in past videos about relationships, which you guys can check out those videos as well. But the heart is not going to change because the head tells it to, okay? Whereas the head, the mind will change whenever a new narrative comes flowing by, right? The mind kind of always has to adjust and, question itself and this and that. The heart is strong. So follow that inner guidance. Trust that those changes that you're feeling guided to make, right? Even though they're freaking scary, right? You might be leaving a 20-year relationship. You might be leaving a 30-year job. You might be leaving everything behind. But trust that your heart, that you are being led into a completely new life that is going to be living your dreams, literally. When everyone's going into chaos, right? And of course, disclosure is going to be amplifying right now, this month. And of course, leading into January, massive disclosure. And of course, whenever that happens, we have a lot more chaos, a lot more emotion, a lot more people purging and reacting to it. Another reason to get in your heart, make sure you are in that quiet, safe place, right? And know how to get back in there, right? If you're triggered, if you're kind of caught in that chaos, Know how to get back into yourself. Know how to self-soothe. You literally have to parent yourself. Almost like you're a little baby, right? Know how to get back into that safe place, because you're going to need it. We also have the 1212 portal. We have the 1221 portal, which is always a huge time. That's also the winter solstice. And then things are just going to blast off after that, because we also have the final Uranus squaring Saturn transit. This has been going on all year, but this is the final one. So the final one really means that we are in the final stages of that karma pattern coming out. So Uranus is literally changing at the core level these structures, right? Saturn represents all of the structures, all the, the big corporations, all of these, things we have in the world that need to really crumble. And Uranus is going, no, and it's just mixing all this up and crunching it down to nothing. And we have the final square this month. So this month is going to be huge, and you're probably already feeling it. Make sure you take care of yourself, because we just had the eclipse, and you're, of course, integrating. This was quite a powerful eclipse the last couple of days. I had a lot of Ascension symptoms. Of course, we have to catch up when it comes to, when we receive energies. If our physical body or where we're at is not quite at that level that we need to be, then we have to kind of catch up a bit. So we have to go into a huge purging state or whatever it is. Remember, if your life is blowing up, it's amazing. That means that you have changed. And when you change inside, internally, your entire life has to rearrange itself to align to the new you, to align to that new place that you were aligned to in the universal time matrix. You have literally merged with a future version of yourself. So what happens? The outside world has to shapeshift, has to, everything has to be released that is not serving your new vibration. So remember that we can't live in all these multiple worlds at the same time. We can't be in the 3D, 4D separation consciousness at the same time as being in unification. So all those attachments, all those limiting circumstances in your life, they have to be released. Okay? Now is the time to do it. Don't wait and stall, because then what could happen is the things you're wanting to change, they might just automatically be taken away from you, right? So you might have been contemplating, for example, to end a marriage for quite some time, and all of a sudden your partner might be like, okay, I'm done. And then you're kind of in a shock, and then it's, something that you were unprepared for. Because eclipses, right? We're in the eclipse portal right now. So eclipses are a big time of brand new beginnings and sudden endings. Okay? So remember that everything is happening perfectly. And if your life is not working out for you right now, don't worry. It's because you have done some work. You are changing. You've just created a life that was unaligned, like all of us, right? We all had to go through the process of our entire life blowing up, right? But unless you're someone that has literally been creating a life since you were born that is of a heart, based perspective, that is aligned to your soul, which most of us, unless you were born with some amazing parents that were completely heart-based, you probably are ingrained in a lot of programming, right? And so all of us created a life that was completely unaligned, and now it has to dissolve because we're no longer in that timeline. So we can't hold together realities that are no longer supported by the energy. Remember, the energy, all the codes and all the templates in the background is what create the physical reality. Right? The physical reality is actually the past. What we see out here and everything is already created from the energy that you created within. Remember that. So, massive time of release. Allow yourself to really know and feel what is right for you, right? It's scary to walk into the unknown. Trust me. I've done it so many times in my life. But every time it was for the best. Every single time, right? It's that transition that's scary, that's hard, but every single time that it's happened, it's been for the best, and something amazing came in when I allowed myself to finally release that old, right? We have to make room for the new. So this is an 18-month release, and of course we just had the eclipse in the new moon, so we are kind of seeing glimpses of the new coming in as well. You got this. Don't forget to sign up for free on EARTH1111.com. I have hundreds of videos on there. You can also search via keyword and categories, and I have all my blog posts. So make sure you guys check out my new website. It's brand new, and I just launched it yesterday. Online course is called Ascension Alchemy. It's a 6-week course all about all the process of ascension and transforming your entire life and yourself on every single level. I have jam-packed so much into this course, so it's going to be 6 weeks. And you guys can find that as well on my website, EARTH1111. And right now I have a 50% off sale on this week. So for $111, so much information over my 20 years of ascending and doing spiritual practices. And I'm really experiencing every single thing that I went through. Thanks so much. Make sure you guys share the video. Don't forget to comment, like, and we'll see you on my new website. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.